Hi, welcome to Backos.com. We are on Lesson 4, Match Grip, from Percussion Guide for the Beginning Band Student. There are two different techniques you can use for snare drum. There's the traditional grip, and there's the match grip. I have seen percussionists play both techniques and both sound great. But what we're going to do is we are going to focus on the match grip, because the match grip is going to allow you to play every percussion instrument. If you look at the key points, there's some very important things you need to know about the match grip. Number one, the match grip, both hands are identical, which means it's a great grip to make sure that you're doing it correct. You just have to look down or turn your wrist and make sure that your right hand and your left hand are exactly the same. Let's talk about a term called the fulcrum, which is your pressure point. Now what I'd like you to do is take the drumstick and I want you to place it on the first joint of your hand, and your thumb gently touches it. Fingers gently touch your stick. You turn your wrist, and this is the match grip, the technique I like to use. Now, why do I hold the stick in the first joint? Because this allows the stick to bounce. You see this opening? This is going to give me the maximum amount of bounce from striking the drum head. Have I seen percussionists place the stick in the second joint and close up the stick? But the difference is, you're going to notice this opening is not there. And there's no give to the stick. To get a warm sound, you want maximum amount of bounce. So once again, I roll the stick down, but there's going to be a key point here. I would like the stick to rest on the top part of the joint. If you look, if I put my finger underneath it, it's like resting on top of my finger. The biggest mistake my students will make is taking a stick and placing it on the very bottom part, so it looks like right here, the tip. Or they put it on the second joint. So once again, I just roll the stick down. So I tell my percussionists to look at their hands and make sure they have the opening. Another key point, many times my percussionists will hold the stick too far up or too far back. I like it approximately 5 inches from the back, which is going to give me that 50% bounce and 50% wrist. If you hold it too far up, you're going to use too much wrist. If you hold it too far back, you're going to get too much bounce. So what I'd like you to do is approximately go 5 inches from the back and find out where that hot spot is on your stick. You might have to move up or back so you can feel bounce. You want to hold the stick loose. For instance, when I'm holding, I consider this my relaxed hand or classical grip, I can pull away the stick. It feels like it's ready to fall out of my hands. I still give it enough pressure, and it's still secure. But you should get a ring to your sticks if you're striking them. Also, you'll see many percussionists use their arm when they're playing, or fingers. I like you to avoid that when you first start. Why? Because I want you to strengthen up your forearm. So one of the terms I use for my students is only use wrist. For the reason of strengthening out the proper muscle. But do I use arm in combination? At times. Do I use fingers in combination? At times. Let's review the key points. Number one, fulcrum is your pressure point. Take the stick, put it in your first joint, and gently put your thumb and fingers holding the stick. Remember to hold the sticks loosely rather than tight, so you can get the maximum amount of rebound off the snare drum head. Also, make sure your left hand and right hand match. They are identical. And finally, I want all my students to only use wrist, so you're strengthening up your forearm. Thank you for joining me at Backos.com. This is lesson 4, match grip, from Percussion Guide for the Beginning Band Student.